Good. Oh. Good evening. I'll be going over the procedure for the Public Works Community Meeting for the project study report of the Soundwall traffic noise study. Today is December 13, 2021, and the time is 6 p.m. This is the time and place for the City of Glendale Public Works Community Meeting for the I-210 Freeway Soundwall construction project. My name is Edward Hitty. I'm an Assistant Director of Public Works City Engineer of the City of Glendale, and I'll be conducting the meeting hosted by the city. Invitation of this meeting was accomplished by the use of over 9,000 postcards, which were mailed to property owners located within 500 feet of the Interstate 210 freeway between Pennsylvania Avenue and Lowell Avenue on November 18 and 19, 2021. The Public Works staff has invited Caltrans to provide a brief overview of the project status and the recommendation of the traffic noise study. The purpose of the meeting is to inform the public on the traffic noise study recommendations and receive public comments regarding consideration related to the appropriate time, place, and manner of the proposed sound walls. The staff also invited a representative from our neighboring agency, the LA County Public Works, to provide a brief overview of their respective sound wall project. Due to the evolving situation with the COVID-19 novel coronavirus and health recommendation from the LA County Health Department, the Public Works Community Meeting for the Soundwall project will be available to the public electronically. Due to social distancing requirement, the public will not be able to attend the meeting in person. The public is encouraged to watch and participate from the safety of their homes to practice social distancing. As for the public comments, the meeting can be viewed live by visiting the following YouTube link: https://youtube.be/copjruxddis, and this address is already being provided to the resident when they receive the invite for the meeting. If anyone wishes to make public comments after the PowerPoint presentation is complete, please call at 213-306-3065 and use access code 2557-136-2248, then press pound. Then please enter the meeting ID number 88297725. I'll repeat those information again. In order to join us after the PowerPoint presentation is complete, please call us at 213-306-3065 and enter access code 2557-136-2248. Then press pound, then enter the meeting ID number 88297725. The speaker will have 2 minutes to make their comments or ask question. Comment question will be addressed by the appropriate person during the meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded, both video and audio, and the recording will become a part of the public record. Now I will turn over the PowerPoint presentation to Con Nguyen of Caltrans, followed by Ricardo Gordillo of LA County Public Works. We'll have almost 21 slides will be presented by Caltrans, and the county will have a total of 9 slides will be presented by Mr. Gordillo of LA County. And I will turn over now to Mr. Nguyen of Caltrans.
Thank you, Edward. Let me share my PowerPoint. Good evening, everyone. I am Con Nguyen, project engineer for this Soundwall projects. First, I would like to appreciate your valuable time attending the outreach meeting. Second, I would like to take this opportunity to thank City of Glendale for your support in preparing the Soundwall project study report, project report, PSR-PR. A Soundwall project at the planning stage. Your feedbacks and input are really important to us. Soundwall construction will be in Interstate 210 freeway from Lowen Avenue to Pennsylvania Avenue. From Caltrans with me today, I have Alpha Chief, Project Special Study, Marco Bueno. Project Manager, Rima Tabaliva. Senior Engineer from Design, Terry Martinez. Senior Engineer from Noise and Vibration, Jean Lee. Senior Environmental Planner, Robert Wang, and myself. The project background objectives are the City Glendale Foothill community has inquired about constructing a sidewalk along the Interstate 210 freeway to mitigate the freeway traffic noise. The City Glendale retained Department of Transportation as known as Caltrans to prepare the traffic noise study report to evaluate the existing traffic noise impact along Interstate 210 freeway in the City of Glendale. The purpose of noise study is collect and analyze freeway noise data, identify type, locations, dimensions of a sound barrier along the Interstate 210 freeway between Lowell Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue. There are 5 phases in the project milestone. Phase 1, prepare environmental document, including the traffic noise study. Phase 2, hold a community meeting, inform the public of the scope of work and project progress. Phase 3, retain the public or private forum to prepare plan, specification, and cost estimate for construction phase. Phase 4, secure proper funding for construction phase of the sound barriers. Last phase, phase number 5, is prepare project schedule, advertise, and award for the construction phase. This slide, I will have Jean Lee, who is a senior engineer from Noise and Vibration, to talk about this one.
Good evening. My name is Jean Lee with Caltrans, Noise and Vibration. For this slide, I would like to provide a brief overview of the state and federal noise policies, and as well as some sound wall noise reduction information. First of all, in order for a residential area or residential homes to qualify for noise barrier or noise abatement consideration, the noise levels has to be at least 67 decibels or above. And also, the another criteria is basically the homes along the freeway actually has to predate the opening of the construction of the freeway. And I believe in this area through 210 freeway, I believe most homes actually predated the 210 freeway. So most area does qualify for the noise abatement considerations. And later on, I'll be showing the noise levels that we measure along the 210 freeway between the Lowell Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue. And basically based on our study, the much of the area qualifies for the noise barrier considerations. And we, based on our computer modeling and analysis, we determined that the 14-foot high sound wall between Lowell Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue provides the noise reduction of 5 to 11 decibels to the nearby homes. Um, this does not mean that everybody that behind the sound wall will benefit. Basically, the sound wall or the noise barrier is most effective for the homes that are about 300 to 400 feet from the sound wall or the noise barrier. Anything farther away from that, the amount of benefit basically diminishes any change in the noise levels. In terms some people 3 decibel, normal perceive the change of 3 decibels. 5 decibel change is readily perceivable by normal human ears, and 10 decibel change is basically considered as a half as loud or twice as loud, whichever the noise level increases or decreases.
Okay.
For this area, 5 to 11 decibels, so it does provide the sufficient benefit to the
Thank you, Gene. So this one, the proposed preliminary scope of work. So technically, we are remove existing 6-foot high and 8-foot high wall along with westbound direction. Construct 2 sound wall along with eastbound direction. The total length is 5,370 feet. The name of the sound wall is R103 and the sound wall 104. Construct 4 sound wall along westbound direction. The total length is 6,950 feet. Name of the sound wall is sound wall 100, sound wall 101, 101A, and sound wall 102. To accommodate sound wall, we need to modify 5 bridge structures, and they are located on Lowen Avenue, Honolulu Avenue, Boston Avenue, Dunsmore Avenue, and then New York Avenue. The total length of a sound wall is 12,320 feet with 14 feet in height, which is they are both direction eastbound and westbound. All sound walls and associated work within Caltrans right of way. No encroachment of private property. Project limitation is from Lowen Avenue to Pennsylvania Avenue is 1.21 mile long. From eastbound direction, South Wall 103 start from Lowen Avenue on ramps to Pennsylvania Avenue off ramp. The length of the South Wall 103 is 4,790 feet. Also, South Wall 104 is on Interstate 210 freeway. Eastbound direction as well. It's 580 feet long. From the westbound direction, South Wall 100 on 210 freeway and locate Lowen Avenue overcrossing with 1,360 feet in length. Next, South Wall 101 from Lowen Avenue off ramp to Pennsylvania on ramp westbound. It is 4,980 feet long. Next, we have Soundwall 101A, which extended from Soundwall 101. It is only 232 feet long. Last and not least is Soundwall 102 on Interstate 210 freeway, westbound direction. It is 377 feet long. So I would like to invite Jean back to talk about what is mean Pelagian to mean to you. Jean, are you there? So I guess Jean is have a difficulty on internet. So let's he will coming back later on, so I can move on this one. So this slide is it's a blow up from Soundwall 100. It is on the Interstate 210 freeway. And then this is Soundwall 101 on Lowen Avenue off ramp. As you can see, the guardrail will be replaced by the Soundwall 103. The existing 6-foot high wall will be replaced with 14 feet Soundwall 101. This one is the blow up where the Soundwall 103 and 101 are at the New York Avenue overcrossing. Again, this is Soundwall 104 will be constructed on the intersect of 210 on the freeway. Just another look of Soundwall 103, where this one will be construction at beginning. The existing fence is remain in place. We're not touching it. This is where Soundwall 101A start and end. And also you can look at the Soundwall 102 will be on the Interstate 210 freeway. This is a sample of proposed Soundwall. The design, texture, and color will be determined by the city of Glendale. Project design, funding, and construction phases. The total estimated project cost is $15 million. Project estimated design and construction support cost, $14 million. Project estimated construction cost is $36 million. The project funded by City Glendale's Major R Sub-Regional Fund is $20 million available right now. $30 million additional funding needed to be determined later on. Begin design, and construction will be determined by City of Glendale. With that one, do you have any question for me? By the way, project and contact information. There's a link here. You can click into it. Then we'll go directly into the City of Glendale. Project manager from City of Glendale. Her name is Jasmina. With that one, if you don't have any question for me, I conclude this presentation.
This is Jean Lee. I get disconnected from my internet, so I'm back, but I guess.
Jean, can you talk about the legend,
Available
please?
for-
Let me try to do that. Okay. Jean up. Jean Lee, you up.
Yes, basically, as I mentioned before, as part of the noise study that we performed for this project, we conducted several dozen noise measurements, both north side and south side of the 210 freeway between Royal Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue. And the numbers you see, the red numbers you see on this layout here, those are basically the peak noise level that we determined from our measurements. So as you can see, most of the area within a couple hundred feet of the freeway are basically ranging from basically the most of them are basically above 67 decibel to 72, 73 decibels. So this noise level basically represent the community noise level currently. And after the soundwall is constructed, this noise level should go down to probably around the mid to low 60s decibel range, which provides the adequate noticeable reduction to the community. So I guess the next slides 8, 9, 10 basically provides shows the noise levels along the community that we measured, and you can see from the numbers that the noise levels do exceed 67 decibels and up to 72, 73 decibels.
I believe the presentation is completed. Mr. Wan and Lee,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you for your time on that. Please stay with us. Next, we'll be hearing a presentation from the LA County Public Works, Mr. Ricardo Gordillo. After his presentation, then we'll start taking phone calls for the public to ask questions to either agency, but mainly really this project is City of Glendale project. The focus for the questions will be more for the presentation provided by Caltran. The county is more than courtesy because those are our next door neighbor, and should the public has a question about why the wall stop at certain point, not the other point, really this is based on the jurisdiction, and we're very happy to have the county with us just to give us a short or brief overview of their project. And just to remind the public, before Mr. Gordillo start, for any questions to talk to a live operator when you call the city, please use the following number, 818-937-8100. Again, for questions and talking to an operator, call 818-937-8100. The previous number that I provided, this is just for hearing only. And having said that, Mr. Gordillo, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Right. My name is Ricardo Gordillo. I'm with LA County Department of Public Works. I'm with the Transportation Branch of the department. And today I want to present to you what I presented to the city of, the community of La Cosena Valley Town Council. About a year and a half ago, I was explaining to them what the process was. Caltrans had already given them a presentation. I wanted to show them what the county was going to do with the limited funding we have. I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation. I hope everyone can see that. Like I said, it was presented to the Cosena Valley Town Council about a year and a half ago. It was, I think it was April of 2020. And I just gave a brief summary of what the report was about. It was completed back in November 2019. It was signed off. And the purpose was to provide effective freeway traffic noise reduction for sensitive receivers in the residential areas of La Crescenta and Montrose within the unincorporated areas of LA County. Caltrans is the one who prepared the MBSSR, and now we had to come to the point of where we had to determine which walls could be built based, again, on our limited funding.
Mr. Gordillo, sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Gordillo. Do you have the PowerPoint presentation that you can share it with us, please?
Oh, I thought I was sharing it. I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you.
Let me see if I can do this. Okay, I'm not able to share. I'm sorry. This is great. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not allowing me to share.
Okay, let's see if we can assist on our end, if you can give us a few minutes. If not, if you don't mind, we can post your PowerPoint presentation on our website later on.
Yeah, we can also do that.
Okay. Let's see, our IT staff will try to figure out, maybe we can display your PowerPoint presentation on our end.
Do you see the share button towards the bottom of your screen?
I do.
Okay.
And it's asking me to open system preferences. So I think I should have done something before now. Oh, here it is. Let me see if I can do this. It will work. I apologize for this. Okay, I'm gonna, it's asking me to quit the meeting. So I apologize for that.
We
I should have
have the
done this
backup.
before
Just
we,
give us a second.
started here. Yeah, it's asking me to quit the meeting.
That's okay, Ricardo. We can do it on our end.
We're
Go ahead.
working on it.
Okay, sorry about that.
No worries. Just give us a few minutes. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you. Okay.
Can you see it?
So yes, I can see it perfectly. So yes, like I was saying, this was presented last year to the La Crescenta Valley Town Council. If you can go to the next screen. And I gave a...
Sorry, give us 1
Mr. Gordillo, just give us a few minutes, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
There we go. Thank you. Like as I was explaining before, and I don't want to repeat myself, but basically, the purpose of the study that Caltrans conducted was to provide effective freeway traffic noise reduction for sensitive receivers in the residential areas of La Crescenta and Montrose within the unincorporated LA County. The Caltrans, like I said, prepared the MBSSR, and at this point, I presented it to the La Crescenta Town Council so that we could start determining which walls could be built based on our limited funding. Next, please. The limits of the MBSSR that Caltrans prepared, the noise barrier study, was between Pennsylvania Avenue on the west down to the State Route 2 on the east. Next, please. And essentially, the next three slides might look familiar because these I got from Caltrans, and they explained what the sound levels were from coming off the freeway from different sampling sites. Okay, and then these look familiar because they look almost exactly like the ones that the Caltrans just presented. And I explained all this to the La Crescenta Valley Town Council. If you can go to the next maybe a couple of slides, so we can see that the location proximity of the sound walls. Right, and what I was looking at when we were trying to determine what the best sound was to build. If you can go to the next one also. And basically, it covers the whole length of the sound wall locations, the proposed locations within the unincorporated area of La Crescenta and Montrose. And as you can see, it ends over here by the Foothill Freeway. Now, after I did all my number crunching, if you go to the next slide, I determined, I proposed, that based on the funding that we currently have available that is secure is 3.044. I also have $6 million. We also have $6 million available to build additional sound wall, or to build the sound walls that we can build, which brings it to a grand total of $9 million. It's not a lot of money. So I told them, I explained to them, I wish I could build all of them, but the grand total for all of that was something close to $60 million. So we had to make choices. We had to make decisions about what was going to be built. If you go to the next slide, please. And I propose, based on the findings that the MPSSR determined. Sorry, the next one. The best sound walls to build were east of Ocean View, to the 2 freeway. So that's it. I mean, of all the sound walls that I showed them, the only ones that we can afford to build right now are these 2, and that total cost for construction was $7.5 million. I'm sorry, that's not just construction, that's also PSNE and everything, the whole 9 year right away, everything, right? So we have a little bit of extra money left over. If possible, I was going to try to squeeze in another sound wall or 2. So if you could show the next slide over. I proposed to them we could maybe build this little one that's only $2.5 million. So, but bottom line is we're limited in our funding. We're going to see if we could find additional funding. The infrastructure bill that just passed hopefully will free up some funding for us, make some funding available for us. I did propose this as a potential project to build all the sound walls along this freeway, but that we're very, very much at the very beginning of the decision-making process. So I just proposed it. So I'm hoping, I'm crossing my fingers that it'll get funded because it is a worthwhile project. But that's where we are. That's where we are in the unincorporated area. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gordillo. We concluded 2 presentations given by Caltrans staff and the LA County Public Works staff, and we're open for a phone calls from the public. I'll go ahead provide the numbers to call in for questions or comment. Any caller will have 2 minutes to either make a comment or ask a question. The phone number is 818-937-8100. And for the public who join us just to hear the presentation or hear the questions, answers, please call at 213-306-3065 and use access code 2557-136-2248, followed by a #. Then please enter the meeting ID number 8829-7725. So we'll go ahead, we'll be waiting for the public to join us for any questions or comment that would like to have by calling that particular number, 818-937-8100. And if we can provide okay, thank you. The number is on the screen for the, to dial in, to call in.
Mr. Hiti, you have some calls, and I will open up the phone line.
Excellent. Go ahead. Please state your name and your address.
Walter Bagramian, 3543 Altura Avenue. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank all the individuals and entities that are behind this wall project, and I want to especially thank City of Glendale Council, because it looks like they're the ones that are willing to put the $20 million out of that $50 or $60 million that's needed for the wall. Here's the thing, since 1994, the traffic on 210 has increased. Not 1994, the Northridge earthquake. Because before, everyone would take the 5 freeway, and then after the Northridge earthquake, people started taking the 210 more often. So, there's more traffic, and considering that there's no freeways are being built and there's less, being put into infrastructure, I think, that extra 30 or 40 million that needed, should not be an issue, and Caltrans should cough up that money. Because I believe it's unfair, Of course, we're not South Pasadena, that, we would just prevent, freeway being built. We have the freeway. I think we just need to be, I think the, wall needs to be put in there, and it needs to be properly done wall. Now, if you look at the other sections of the 210 freeway where Salantanga is, you would see natural barriers like the mountains and hills and all that, it really prevents, the noise going into the neighborhoods. And I know, someone might argue that, hey, Sunland Tanga homes are far from 210. I agree, but, certain part of it, but the Sunland exit is, it's not. And, those hills are preventing the noise. So I was thinking like maybe in this, maybe a natural, barriers could be put in there. There's some area, 3700 block, there's some, there's a property being offered for sale at 34 or 3300 block, that could be used. And I know it's going to be expensive. It's going to increase the price.
Justice, sorry to interrupt you, caller. Your 2 minutes is up, but as a courtesy, we'll give you 5-10 seconds to wrap it up, unless you have a specific questions for us.
Here's the thing. If funding is becoming, difficult, if you're going to do what you did, let's say 6 or 8 feet, of wall, then, or, in some sections where the bridges are, you're not going to do it. Just don't do it, please, because noise travels. So if it's being done, let's do it properly. Let's address it properly. Also, trees would be a good thing besides the, wall, to have trees or some natural barriers. It's, 2021, let's think differently. I mean, you're using 1970s, technology and means, to address things. Let's think differently. And I know funding is an issue, but I think Caltrans should address it because they're not building any freeways anymore in the LA County.
Thank you for your call. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Your next caller is Daniel Brem. Mr. Brem, you are on the air. You have 2 minutes.
Hi. Like they said, my name is Daniel Brem. I live at 6300 Honolulu Avenue. This area is west of the proposed 100 wall, which I understand is not in the Glendale jurisdiction. But I'd like to say that maybe in response to the previous caller, the noise from traffic in this area is substantial. Coming off of the Lowell off-ramp going west, this is a major access point to a lot of the Sunland Tujunga region, and part of that traffic makes a lot of noise here. I understand funding is limited, but if a sound wall isn't able to be extended westward towards where the previous golf course was, at the least some traffic measures like LA County police officer presence to reduce speeding or a digital speedometer readout along that length of Honolulu would be appreciated. Ideally, funding covers the sound wall, but it doesn't sound like that's going to be the case. So other measures to reduce roadside and freeway traffic in my part of the town would be appreciated. There's a school and a church here, and along with other community houses that don't seem to be addressed by the current sound wall. And I'd like consideration for an extension this direction. And I think that's what I have to say. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you for your call.
You have Miss Christina Rooney on the line. Miss Rooney, you are on the air. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Christina Rooney. My address is 3516 Encinal. I have several questions. The first being whether the sound measurements were taken over a 24-hour period and whether they were taken during the week or on the weekend. Obviously, traffic varies greatly, and so those numbers that were put up were one point in time, but during rush hour or during times when there's a lot of trucks going through, even late at night, the sound varies greatly. And so I was just wondering what methodology was used for the sound study. Next, I'm wondering about the construction process because we currently have a green space between our property and the freeway, which is filled with mature vegetation, like trees that are, in excess of 50, 60 feet tall. And so I'm wondering if that is going to be preserved in the construction process because that vegetation itself provides some sound dampening, and I would hate for all of that to be taken out in the process of putting up these walls. I also have a question in terms of the methodology. If the existing model that you're planning to use would bring everything into compliance given the anticipated increase in traffic over the next, let's say 10, 20 years, are we building for the future, or are we building just for the moment, and 10 or 20, 15 years from now, we're going to be right back where our neighborhood is in violation of the sound standards put forward by the federal government that you explained at the beginning of the presentation? Any answers to those questions would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your call. Just to let the callers know and all the public, the presenters will be taking notes and they will prepare answers if they can at the end of this meeting. Thank you. Any more callers?
Carlisle Franklin is your next caller.
Thank you.
Mr. Franklin, you are on the air for 2 minutes. Mr. or Ms. Franklin, you are on the air for 2 minutes.
Please check to make sure you're not on mute.
Kevin Altar, you are on the air for 2 minutes.
Good evening, panel. My name is Kevin Alter. I live at 3503.5 Montrose Avenue, and the cross street is, let's see, where is it? Boston. And we've been living in the same house for 33 years. Literally, the Caltrans property line is less than 35 yards from my property line. And eastbound traffic on 210 is horrible. 18-wheelers come down that grade, and invariably they use their Jake brakes, which causes so much noise and disruption in our home. And I was wondering why the study wasn't done on the eastbound side of 210 from, let's say, Boston to New York Avenue on the south side eastbound. I mean, that area coming down the grade from Sunland to Hunga, traffic noise is horrible, and I was wondering what the panel or Caltrans can do about that noise issue. Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
I'll go back to caller Franklin. Caller Franklin, you are on the air for 2 minutes.
Go ahead, caller.
I'll go ahead with Mr. Dino Lepardo. Mr. Lepardo, you are on the air for 2 minutes.
Yes. Good evening, Dino Lepardo. I'm calling from 3841 Cedar Bend Drive in Glendale. Same question. I'm curious why there is no study on the sound test on the south part of the freeway between Boston and New York, where we live, which is also, we are higher in altitude, so therefore we are at the same level of the freeway, and we are highly impacted by the sound. Second, the question is for Caltrans. I don't understand why in this part of the freeway they do not use asphalt as they did replacement on the 101 in the Studio City area, where the asphalt notoriously has create less sound than concrete pavement. And the same area also in Studio City, they totally entrap the freeway with a barrier that I believe are way higher than 14 feet. I'm wondering if the part there of Los Angeles, they pay more taxes than us here, or maybe there are more powerful people able to push even stronger question there with the Caltrans. And then I believe also a reduction, although decibel scale is logarithmic, I'm wondering why only 5 decibels reduction. So just to bring down a little bit rather than totally reduce or make a substantial reduction, like in the case of, again, Studio City, both direction, and south and north in the on the 101 freeway, where they changed the asphalt from concrete to asphalt, and the wall are way below, but more than 14 feet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller.
Your next caller is Lisa Morris. Miss Morris, you are on the air for 2 minutes.
Hi, yes. I live at the 2900 block of Fairway Avenue. And the way the sound affects me is I actually can hear it if I try to sleep in the master bedroom at night. But I don't see how, as a general rule, I am not for the sound walls. And I know that might not be a very popular opinion, but when you drive through there, I see the slopes and the plants and the vines and the flowers, and I see it as a scenic freeway. Now, if you put the wall down along the freeway, because it's the freeway is like in a gully, you might say, I don't know how that's going to stop the sound from traveling up and still into our home. I don't understand that engineering-wise. I don't see that it's going to do any good. Why not put the walls along, but right outside the residential homes or commercial properties along that way? Wouldn't that be more effective for that particular piece of property? I couldn't see the maps on the TV that very well, but that is my overall opinion. And, of course, I also worry about graffiti. I think it's a scenic freeway right now, and it's beautiful, and I don't think it's going to be pretty once the walls go up. And I don't know that the small amount of decibels reduced is worth the cost. And that's my concern. That is all.
Thank you, caller.
Your next caller is Francisco Ariano. Mr. Ariano, you have the floor for 2 minutes. Mr. Ariano, you have the floor for 2 minutes. I'll go ahead with the next caller, Carlisle Franklin. Miss Franklin, you have the floor for 2 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Is this Mr. Ariano?
No, this is Franklin.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Franklin, for 2 minutes.
Is this Mr. Ariano?
No, this is Mr. Franklin.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Franklin.
No, this is Mr. Franklin. Okay, first, I want to thank the Department of Public Works. I want to thank the Department of Public Works of the city, because too often they have neglected us residents of North Glendale.
Please make sure to mute your other device, please.
Of North Glendale. So,
Make sure to mute your other device, please.
okay, I have 2 questions. One, how is the remaining funding? How is the remaining funding going to be funded? Hello? No.
Yes, we can hear you. What's the next question?
Yeah, and the second is, what is the schedule for design and for all the phases, construction, design, what has been completed and what has not been completed?
Thank you. Any further questions for us?
No, that is all.
Thank you, caller. Next.
Mr. Francisco Ariano. Mr. Ariano, you have the floor for 2 minutes. Mr. Ariano, you have the floor for 2 minutes.
Let's try another call and we'll come back to Mr. Ryan.
That would have been our last call.
Okay, well, we'll wait. We'll give him a few minutes.
Mr. Ariano, are you there? Hello, Mr. Ariano? He dropped off.
Oh, he did? Oh.
There are no more callers.
Okay. I'll go ahead and wait another 3 to 4 minutes just in case Mr. Ariano tried to call us again. If not, we'll conclude the meeting.
You have Mr. Nick Gregorian. Mr. Gregorian, you are on the air for 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Nick. Live at 4201 Pennsylvania, just north of the freeway. And I was wondering when the time of when Will built the wall, because our bedrooms are on the 3rd floor, and we can't even open up our windows because of the noise. It's so horrible. And I know some people like to look at the freeway, but like they said in the meeting, but I was just wondering the time when they will build the wall. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more calls, Mr. Hiti.
No calls from Mr. Ariano?
No.
We're going to go ahead and conclude the call in to the city, and we're going to go back to Mr. Wen of Caltrans to address some of the questions that came up from the public. Mr. Wen, the floor is yours.
I would like at this time, I would like to invite Jean talking about why we need to have it's only reducing 5 decibel, not it's greater than that. So Jean, can you answer those questions?
Actually, let me start off with the answering the question about the some noise measurements, whether we did the 24 measurements or the so forth. Yes, basically we conducted both short-term and long-term. Long-term meaning a 24 consecutive noise measurements within the community, both north and south side of the freeway between the Wall Avenue and the Pennsylvania Avenue. Basically 24-hour measurement, we use 24 measurement to adjust the other short-term measurements we conducted. And the noise measurement that I shared earlier with the aerial map, those are the basically what we consider the highest or the peak noise level within the 24-hour period that the community will face from the 210 freeway traffic. So yes, so we did both short-term and the long-term measurements to determine the peak noise level within the community. And I believe there was also a comment about the trees that we're going to take out, or the trees help them with their noise. I can't really speak for the design at this time, but I believe at Caltrans, whoever does the project will try to preserve any trees that will not be impacted by the construction of Soundwall. So those mature trees that will not be impacted by the Soundwall will probably be most likely be preserved. And if there are any trees that's in the way of the Soundwall, those will have to come out. And in terms of the trees providing any noise benefit, based on our research and our lot of testing that we've done before, trees generally don't provide much of benefit in terms of the noise or acoustical benefits. In order for trees to act as a effective noise barrier, we need to have about 100 feet thick area of the trees, and it has to be very dense. It has to be at least about 16 feet high trees, and it has to be basically mostly evergreen because in the fall, if it's deciduous tree, then the leaves fall off and it does not provide any benefit. So generally, in California urban areas, we do not have that kind of a buffer zone between the freeway and the homes to pack the area with the tall, dense trees. So the typical highway trees that we have along the freeway don't really provide any acoustical benefits or any benefits to the reduction of traffic noise. There was comment about the traffic noise increase uh, in the future when the traffic increases, the more traffic doesn't necessarily mean the higher noise. Actually, a lot of people have a misperception about the traffic noise during the rush hour. They think that rush hour causes higher traffic. Actually, rush hour does not cause the highest noise level within the day, because when you have more traffic, the speed slows down, and the noise is basically proportional to the traffic volume and the speed. So when the traffic volume goes up, speed goes down, and in fact the noise level goes down. So based on our numerous testing that we've done, the highest traffic noise occurs just before after the rush hour. So when the traffic increases, that does not necessarily mean the noise level increases as well, because the traffic volume increases, speed goes down, and a lot of times the noise level goes down as well. And I believe there was also a comment about the noise level reduction. I mean, this area, based on our computer simulation and modeling, the 14-foot high sound wall is determined to provide a 5 to 11 decibel reduction, depending on where you are. Basically, the noise reduction level, is based on the topography of the area, your home elevation and the distance respective to the freeway elevation and where the freeways are located. We can build higher wall. That does not mean that you're gonna get more reduction in the noise. There are point of diminishing point where a certain height does not reduce any more noise than what the height is, the effective provides. So we believe that 14-foot high sound wall is most effective in this area. Obviously, if you go to 16 feet, 18 feet, you may get another decibel or two reduction, but the construction cost probably goes up another 30-40% because of the height of the wall. So we determine what's the most effective height and the cost reasonable height to build a sound wall, and the 14-foot high sound wall is determined to be the most effective wall at this point. So 5 decibel is readily noticeable reduction, and some areas where they get 10 decibel, they'll hear basically half as loud of the noise. And please understand that building a noise barrier sound wall does not eliminate the freeway traffic noise. You will still hear the noise. You will basically hear the less noise. I'm trying to remember the comments. There was comment about the use of asphalt to reduce noise. Yes, the department has been with the coordinating with the federal higher administration. We've been doing a lot of research for the past 10, 20 years and trying to determine, use of pavement types to provide a noise reduction, provide the freeway traffic noise reduction, and determine that the rubberizer asphalt concrete pavement, or what we call the open road asphalt concrete pavement, does generate less noise than the typical concrete pavement that we have out there. However, because of the insufficient data that we have so far collected, and because of the maintenance cost and other issues, using a pavement type as a solely for abating of traffic noise is not approved by the federal government. And also, this payment, does not mean it's cheaper way of doing it, because you have to constantly maintain the payment to maintain the effectiveness of the road reducing effectiveness. Maybe, if you use asphalt concrete, then you may need to go back out there every 10 years or so to basically replace the payment to provide that the initial noise reduction level that the payment provided. So at this point, we cannot use asphalt concrete pavement to solely for the noise abatement purpose. And obviously, there will be project, if the project recommends the asphalt concrete, an overlay on top of the existing concrete pavement, then yes, the designer can probably opt to use the rubberized to provide at the same time a supplemental noise reduction, benefits. But by itself, we cannot use to just solely for the noise abatement purpose. Yes, and the noise level is basically a logarithmic function, and the 5 decibel, 10 decibel. That's why it means 5 decibel mean really noticeable. The 10 decibel twice as loud does not mean that you get double the reduction or the half the reduction. It's just logarithmic function. So that's how the noise level works. And but as I mentioned before, that It's 5 to 10 decibel. It does provide a readily noticeable reduction and the benefit to the community. And as I mentioned before, the sound wall provides most benefit to the homes within the 300 to 400 feet from the wall. As you go farther away from that wall, you may not get as much benefit, or you may not get any benefit at all. And especially in this community on the foothills, on the north of the freeway, obviously, the entire area goes up on the hill. So, even we built a 14-foot high sound wall, it may not benefit anybody beyond the 300, 400 feet from the wall. I'm not sure if I cover most of it, but just let me know if I need to answer any more comments or questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Gene. Yeah.
Mr. Hiti, you have another call. Would you like to take it?
That's the only call we'll take it. Thank you.
Mr. Ian Drazen, you have the floor for 2 minutes. Mr. Drazen, you have the floor for 2 minutes. Mr. Drazen, you have the floor for 2 minutes.
Hi, this is Ian Drazen. I live at 4201 Pennsylvania, just like the previous caller. I was calling to get a little clarification. The first question I had was earlier in the presentation, it showed that there was a $50 million estimate for the project, and there was $20 million that was set aside, and can you hear me?
You're breaking up. If you can, please repeat your questions. Thank you.
Okay. So I was saying earlier in the presentation, you had said that there was a $50 million project budget and that there was $20 million set aside, so there's a $30 million shortfall. But then later in the presentation, it said that, the Crescenta Valley Town Council had, reviewed it and there was about $9 million available. So my question is that accumulative? So there's $29 million totally available for this project, or is it just the $9 million? And then the follow-up question to that is, with the, sound wall that was proposed for the $9 million, how was it determined where that, would have the sound wall put up? Because I'm sure there's a lot of different neighborhoods who would like the sound wall put up in their area. So is that determined by where it's going to make the most impact in terms of reducing the decibels, or where the most, people are going to be positively affected by the reduction, or you could put the most wall up for the least amount of money? I'm just trying to figure out sort of what that decision process was in determining where the wall that we do have the funding for will be located. And then my final question was, is there a plan, for phases when more funding becomes available to continue on and do it in multiple phases with the additional funding whenever it comes from the town or from Caltrans or from wherever it might be? Thank you.
Thank you, caller. I might be able to address your questions. The first one regarding the budget, City of Glendale versus the county. They are completely two different agencies. They have two different resources in terms of the funding and scheduling. Really, the only common we have, it's being both agency good neighbors to each other, and just to clarify why each agency may have different planning or different schedule and different resource of funding. So we cannot commingle the funds, nor we can ask the county to build our wall or vice versa. As for your question on the if there's not sufficient funds, that's something we look into, and we did discuss it internally. If we cannot secure the deficit, the $30 million of funds needed to do the entire project as one phase, then we'll look into phase it out. How many phases and when, that's something to be determined based on the funding availability. Any more callers? All right, I want to thank Mr. Wen and Mr. Lee of Caltrans and Mr. Gordillo of LA County Public Works for your time, for your effort, putting the PowerPoint presentation together, and staying late with us to address our resident and the public comments. So I want to thank you all, as well as I want to thanks the GTV6 and the Public Works staff for making it happen tonight. And with that said, that meeting will be concluded on December 13, 2021 at 7:07 p.m. Thank you and good night.